Alright, let's do this. Let's do this. I streamed last night. Holy macaronis. It wasn't the collab I thought I was going to be doing, but it was still a collab on the list. Figgy definitely came in, helped me out. We talked about Halloween and things happening and just kind of goofed around for a little bit. I liked it. Need to do more of it. I've definitely hurt my Twitch streaming thing. I'm trying to figure out, because like I feel like I'm like losing like people like left and right on there, and I kind of don't care, which I should. And the reason I say I should is because that's my fallback. For the Q circle. Definitely took a major, I'm telling you, a major hit with the number of queues that I had already done. I talked about this during the thing. It's one of the reasons why I'm like, so not only am I revamping and updating some of the original cues that I did, I'm also replacing a lot of the people I'm no longer connected to. And I know it sounds really sad, that some people I have a connection to them, but they no longer have a connection back to me. And even I say like going, oh, you like who you like, it doesn't matter if they don't follow you back and stuff like that. I've said that, but I learned right away, and it was a harsh lesson to learn, that if somebody's not following me back, they're not my mutual. It is that simple. And if they're following me back on, and I'm using subscribe for here on YouTube, but if they're following me back on one platform but not following back on another, that other that I use, we're not mutuals there. It really, like, it's really kind of harsh to say it that way. But it's, like I said, I had to learn that lesson the hard way. And, I have a song they call done for the internet apology, which I thought was a brilliant, I thought was brilliant. It might not have been, but I thought I was being brilliant. And somebody put out a request us to do fake apologies. I did it, and then I'm not kidding. How, like, they asked why. They asked me. They said, why are you submitting? And I said, well, you put the request out. I thought it was open. Yeah, and he said to mutuals only, and I was like, but I'm a mutual. We have conversations. And it's like, no. He had to be following me for us to be mutuals. We had to have some connection. In order for us to be mutuals. I just so you know, I was devastated. It's not what I thought of the community. It's not, I thought we were all in this together, and I even had a whole big thing about, how it's not parasocial if they know who you are. I'll be right back. So, I mean, I got 4 years under my belt. I know a thing or two. No, I know. I still know nothing. I have definitely basically forged my own way. I stream the way that works for me, plus is what I want from a streamer. I mean, I want to be the example that, if you're wondering why I'm attracted to all these, crazy misfits of science, I am that. I mean, yeah, I mean, I have fun playing games. I do. And I'm not was gonna say something, and it's like, I'm not horrible at playing games. I'm not horrible at video games at all. I'm actually okay. I just don't see I feel very limited every time I play a game. It's like the difference between playing tabletop Dungeons and Dragons and playing DDO. Tabletop Dungeons and Dragons, you can let your imagination run wild, and in some cases, it's a bad thing. Some games, grind to a halt because of it. But I remember being a part of a campaign for many years, actually, and it's not. In fact, I didn't want them to give me what I wanted, because in a lot of respects they did. The GM, Game Master, not Dungeon Master, the GM basically let us, completely run wild, and we had a long campaign. But in the end, because of the GM's limitations, and single focus of storytelling, we weren't even a part of the story. That makes sense? Having the limitations and having you can't really do that. This thing is restricted. You can't have that type of character. You can't have this stuff, because it's not part of the world. You're interjecting like you want laser beams. You can't have laser guns in the middle of a fantasy role-playing site. You can't have that. Or magic's limited, or something, something that is part of the world that's limited. Then you become part of the story. But if they let you just go completely crazy, you're not really part of the story anymore. And they have battles that they want to have, they want to tell, they want this, but they already have a preset winner. Characters that you're playing, you think that when you start playing, you think that you have influence over the world, or at least influence over where you're at in the game. And if it just goes on without you, it doesn't matter whether you're there or not. The treasures that or the quests that you complete don't have any bearing on anything else that's going on. That's the story itself, not necessarily the world. You can have almost no influence over the world, but the story itself, and you don't feel a part of it. And like I said, I was in a campaign for many years, tabletop campaign for many years, and I literally just walked away from it. went through in those many years. I went through, I think, 7 characters. Most of them died, and they did the exact same thing. Here's a character sheet. Roll up another one. Just cannon fodder. Yeah, and because the story wouldn't allow them to even mourn my death. And I remember at one point somebody was like saying, well, you're supposed to mourn your death. And I was like, I'm a different race, different character. I don't care about that character that died. You guys did. Or didn't. And they were like, we care very much, and everything like that. And I was like going, well, when did you have time to mourn me? The slot that I was supposed to be filling when I made the new character, I was supposed to be filling the same slot that I had, and I didn't. And they didn't like that at all. That's only part of the reason why I ended up quitting. But the you can be whatever you want to be. Yeah, and the new niche that I was making, because they allowed me to do whatever I wanted to do. They didn't even tell me that I had to basically be the thief character again. And I'm like, I built a warrior character. Like I don't know. I have a lot of expectations on GMs and DMs. And I think that a lot of people who take on the GM role is because they think that they have, a lot of power or something crazy like that. It's basically, control. And like the main reason that I did quit is because I saw that as bullying. I mean, I went through, all of my grade school, including high school, mercilessly bullied by people who basically tried to take control over me. Why would I want to continue that in my fantasy? But I like to belong. I like to be a part of. back in, one of the things about video games, all video games, is that whoever created the video game, there is a set path. It doesn't matter if they the 7 different endings or anything like that. Doesn't matter all that stuff. There's only 7 different endings. You can't do anything differently than what they planned. And when it becomes a free-for-all, where it's just basically PvP, it becomes exactly that again. How many times have you died? How many times, And to me, that's kind of boring. I love art streams. So I do art streams. I love just hanging out and goofing around. I love even making these videos, which are limited by, because it's me basically talking to myself. But I love these. I don't know. I don't know anybody else who does. It's one of the reasons why I kind of, even though I have watched, and I'm going to, watch again a million times, but I have watched reaction videos and I have watched review videos. But for the most part, I stopped really liking them. I mean, I don't think I ever really did like them. But I definitely have stopped liking them all that much. And one of the main reasons why I have is because, I have my own thoughts in my own mind. I'll just watch it. I'll watch that movie. I'll watch that TV show. I'll watch that anime. And I'll come up with my own conclusion. I could definitely give recommendations. I mean, this season of anime is kind of, and every now and again they have that. Animes like My Hero Academia, are coming to a conclusion. Fairy Tail, which, had a really wonderful ending. Most people don't realize it. Fairy Tail's done. 100 Year Quest is just kind of like, a nostalgia trip. But they don't have, it doesn't have very, it doesn't have a place to go anymore. things about it is, like, actions have consequences. In the earlier versions of Fairy Tale, and now not so much. Because it's a nostalgia trip. Because this. It's not. It's nothing more than that. The danger really isn't there anymore. The consequences for the actions aren't really there anymore. I remember one of my very first Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, back when it was just Dungeons and Dragons. When a character died, and we were doing everything in our power to try to save them, and it was basically for naught, and we couldn't. Party had to go on, and I had always wanted that whenever I lost a character, that it would be that, and sometimes it was. Sometimes it was a really difficult transition, because after doing everything in your power to try to save the person, the character still passes on. And we had a funeral and a goodbye and all this stuff, and I thought that this is where it should be, and I was wrong later on. Like I said, I went through like 4 or 5 characters. I can't even remember how many characters that died in that one campaign. But it became more of a not trying to save their lives. It became more of like, how do we complete the quest? And because of a dice roll, that character wasn't going to continue, and we just moved on. It's kind of like, could we have done more? Maybe. I don't know. But at that point, the character wasn't needed anymore, so goodbye. I was, stuck with atrophy. It is what it is. I never looked to, when I've been a DM, I never looked to being, the one in control. I would just explain the world. I would just bring up what their options are, and then I would allow characters to basically do whatever they needed to do. They were the most important, and when I took over a campaign, deadly situations is to offer ways for their survival. All the characters. If you can run a campaign where everybody survives, you are a successful dungeon master. The player's job is to get themselves killed. The most successful players die. Their characters die. And I never really thought of it that way. So they're trying to get themselves killed while you're trying to keep them alive. And they're going to poo-poo all your survival options. And, attack, the 30th level freaking dragon at 5th level. They're going to do dumb things like that. And the dragon, use a dragon at the time, has to not think that this is worth even fighting. You have to come up with a reason. They're not even doing enough damage. They're basically gnats. Insects, bug. Go away. That's the game. In a nutshell. Everything else is your ability to storytell, create, and allow them to tell their story. And you'll have players who don't want to tell a story, who just basically want to play. But that's all it really is. Players are telling a story, and you're telling a story, and you want to blend them all together. Because if they're not a part of the story, then why are you playing? Fresh hell I came into at work, so we're going to end this a little bit sooner before I get there. As always, cool beans in the comments below. You don't have to put cool beans. You can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want. For me, it's for the connection and stay connected. That's the reason why I say it every single time. We'll have to figure it all out. But wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a fantastic time doing it. Alright? And I will catch you on the flip side. So take care, be well.